Now let's start with a quick demo of Azure services available from Azure and different portals, different components in the portal, how to use that. So I put a link here, which is the services offered by Azure. And as you can see here, starting from here, you have the Azure products, right? And there are multiple categories of Azure products here, from AI, machine learning, to analytics, to compute. Um, like we have been talking about compute a lot, so you can see there are different options here. There's a virtual machine, not this is VMware, but you have a virtual machine, you have a virtual machine skill set, you can have a general virtual machine, and as you would expect with Linux virtual machine, there's also Windows virtual machine. What we are going to use most often in this class is in the analytical side. You have the data factory, you have a data lake storage, data share, data bricks, data stream analytics, synapse analytics, and data lake analytics. There's a lot of different options. Sometimes they are overlapping somehow. Sometimes they belong to different catalog. But basically, if you are wondering what services is offered by Azure, you can come to this link offered in provided in a PowerPoint slide, which is the Azure Microsoft US.com English US products. So now let's look at the real Azure interface. So I'm going to type in portal. So this is the Azure link, the official link that you use to enter Azure and test and check the service. This is portal.azure.com/home. You don't actually need this /home. That's fine. Just type in portal.azure.com, and I'm hitting OK, and I'm going to be request to enter my login credentials. For a lot of you, you may be required to have a multi-factor authentication, which means after you click that your school authentication, school credential, your school email in the previous page, you will be required to use your cell phone to use the Microsoft Authenticator application to enter a number that which will further authenticate you so that you can get into this page. But this is basically the Microsoft Azure interface. And here for the first section, of course, the first section is here, right? In this status bar offer you different information such as notification and the settings, and then there's the login information. Now, this part of the service is the most frequent, the latest services that you have already been using. Here is A services I have used in the past few days. Then followed by resources, recent resources that you have used, you have generated. As you can see, these are the resources I created: functional app, storage account, application service plan, etc. And then you can navigate to further tools, etc. Um, if you want to check what services, what options is offered by Microsoft, you can click on this hamburger sign, which will bring you all the catalogs of services that you see, right? So here is the home. Of course, this is which is this page. Then there's all services. If I click on all services, you will see the same list as what we just see in the directory. Just that this time, when you click, you will actually go into that service. You have AI and machine learning. I think we mentioned the compute. So let's go to compute, and you have virtual machines, right? And you have a virtual machine image. If you go to analytics, you have a data lake, you have a data factories, you have analysis services, you have a data brick, and data exploration, including data category, data share, Power BI, and real-time analytics, all this, and finally Synapse Analytics. So these are the how you get into each individual service. If I want to create a virtual machine, I can come here and find the virtual machine session. As you can see, because I recently used that, it's one of my favorite. I click here, I'm able to find virtual machine, and I can create a virtual machine. Now, at this point, you also have this, if you want to find any service, you can also click things here. And for example, if I want to find storage account, I can type in storage and you can see all the services with the name storage. Because I'm looking for storage account, so I'm clicking here and I have a storage account here available for me. I can create new, I can delete, and I can do much more things. Here, remember, now it's a good time to think about what all this means, right? Storage account, apparently there is a server running certain storage somewhere in one of the Azure data center. But how about this web page? Apparently this one is hosted by a web server. As a client am using this browser to connecting to the web server. That web server is the Azure machine. It also resides in an Azure data center, right? Which means that that web server that's presenting this page is the administrative node. But then, meanwhile, with this, while I'm using that administrative node, I also have a server somewhere running in the data center that hosts this storage account. Now, when I say server, that's not necessarily just a powerful machine um, with a CPU memory. It can be as simple as just a smart disk that can accept information and can store and provide information, right? But provide the data for me to retrieve the data inside. So this is the server inside. This is storage node. And just now we see the virtual machine. That's where you get the compute node. And this one is hosted, this web page is hosted by a administrative node. So this is the organization. All of these resides in certain data center. And how do I know where this data center is? Usually here you can see it's in East US. And if I want to go to like virtual machine, for example, and right now there's no active virtual machine, but if I try to create one, you can see there are like subscriptions, and I can specify which region I want that to be. So this is where this is the region and availability. Let's say I choose the East US, right? I can also choose, am I going to store myself into availability zone, or if so, should that be zone 1, zone 2, zone 3? Apparently, East US has 3 zones, and I can pick one zone to locate to allocate my virtual machine. So this is a demo of Azure services, a list of all Azure services, and how do you access them. And here I'm using the browser as a client and accessing a portal run on a web server in Azure Data Center, which is an administrative node. And as you can see, I see the virtual machine service and storage account service, a compute node in a data center.